Hello, welcome back to Greenhill Today. I'm Tej Dingra.
And I'm Lane Herbert, and whether you're joining our community virtually or in person, we hope everyone is doing well during these crazy times.
In this episode, we're going to be speaking to senior Josh Flowers, who was selected as a National Young Arts finalist for photography. He was able to attend a virtual week full of online classes, exhibitions, and more.
We will also be talking to the new Director of Equity and Inclusion, Dr. Marcus Ingram, on how we as a community can reflect this year on MLK Day. We will also be hearing about a new exciting program coming in the next few months.
So let's go to the interviews.
Yes. Hi, my name is Josh Flowers, and I am a senior.
So I first want to talk about your experience with Young Arts. So for those who don't know, can you sort of take us through the selection process and the application process?
Yeah, so Young Arts is this National Arts Foundation, obviously. And every year, I believe it's in October, is when we submit. There's 10 different disciplines ranging from like film to theater to writing to photography. And so the submission process for photographers, we submit 5 images from a concentration, which is just like a cohesive body of work, and then 5 of sort of our best images. And then attached to that imagery, we have a 2-page written artist statement, which is just a little bit about us, but mostly focused on what we are trying to accomplish through our work and what's sort of represented throughout our imagery.
During the week, you're joined with other really, of course, talented young photographers from all over the country. So, guys, what was that like? Just sort of being in an environment where like you have no distractions and you're with all these other really passionate people. Were you able to like? Are you still in touch with some of them? Like, how does that work? I guess.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the 8 other finalists who were with me were just like phenomenal people. It was so amazing to be in a space with people who are so passionate as well about what they're doing with photography. And so we're definitely still in contact. We have a group chat that we use quite frequently. We share a lot of our imagery still, which is really neat. We're working on sort of a process where we're going to start sending each other prints just for fun,
Right.
just to, I guess, keep in contact with each other and see what we've been working on. But yeah, it was really nice to just, I guess, sort of put aside all of my schoolwork and like college apps and really just dive deep into photography for a week. It was a super immersive and fun experience.
Yeah. Josh, thanks so much.
So I am Dr. Marcus Ingram, and I am new to the Greenhill community, and I am the Director for Equity and Inclusion, 6 months in.
Awesome. And so my first question is, how do you think we as a Greenland community should be sort of reflecting on Martin Luther King Day, given the circumstances of the time?
It's a great question. The way I will come at it actually stems from the notion of my being new to the community. For sure, this is a particular moment in our nation and our world's history as we think about how COVID-19 has impacted our ability to be present. And when I think about the ways in which I've experienced Martin King Day in my own history, a lot of what that day has been about is this notion of being together, which in some ways is about a connection to Dr. King's ideas and his vision and, dare we say, his dream. And in a lot of ways, that togetherness has been exemplified by physically being close to other people, either doing service or being in conversation, wanting to do what we can in those moments to realize that which we believe Dr. King stood for and his legacy stands for. So this is a unique moment for all of us in history.
So I know you said that you sort of, I'm sure you would have wanted in the non-COVID time to be able to have your first year at Greenhill and be able to experience MLK Day with your new community. So I would say, what are some ways you think Greenhill community members or just any community members, how can we sort of keep that energy during these COVID times to celebrate?
I think a part of it is how the King holiday is commemorated. And in some ways, it's a little different than many of the other national holidays that are in the flow of a particular calendar year. The King holiday is very much seen as a day of service. Some of the language around it would be a day on, not a day off. So this notion of how do we take this day and animate our care for others on this day in particular. My sense, partly from my own experience, my own journey, my own family's life, etc. I feel like being in service to others is what most of us, all of us, I would argue, are called to do and be in our daily lives. And some of us have the good fortune of having a professional occupation that directly responds to this call of service to and with others. So I feel a sense of that commitment and allegiance to the spirit of King, as I guess we could call it. I feel that most every day that I show up to work, particularly in a teaching and learning environment that is committed to, the way I would describe it is creating the space where we can cultivate young minds to become capable, critical citizens of the world. That's compelling to me.
And then I just have one last question.
Sure.
So obviously, King Days should be a day of service, and I know that there was a service element of community conversations last year when I covered it. So I was sort of wondering, is there going to be some sort of, I guess, COVID version or virtual version of community conversations or any other program Greenhill is planning on? Could you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely. So community conversations will continue. I think what is going to happen is that this year has given us a moment to do a couple of things. One, to reimagine what the immediate experience is going to be like and be about. So there will be a 2021 installment, and it will also give us an opportunity to perhaps think about, so what is the iteration of this important program for our school community going forward? So this year's community conversations will happen at a later time. It will begin in February and actually extend into March by virtue of the format that we're using this year. The original intent of the Community Conversations program was essentially to invite our family communities into important conversations that in some ways emanated specifically about and from race. And the idea was to have a 3-part series where you come and you learn some things, you then have an opportunity to discuss some things, and then you transition into this service component, and having that be a package deal. Hopefully everyone who participates would participate in each one of those elements, but if not, that you'd get some part of this 3-part experience that became known as Community Conversations.
And that's all we have for you on this episode of Greenhill Today. Thanks for tuning in.
And we'll see you next time on Greenhill Today.